Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys anime episode review. This time I'm talking about episode 56, so let's get to it. Episode 56 begins in Ceres Park where Ash and Goh are fencing using leeks. They battle for a bit, but Goh trips on a rock and then he takes a direct hit to the face. That's what you get for catching Suicune, among other things. In episode 51, Ash did say that he wanted to train using a leek so that he can be more in sync with Farfetch. And in episode 56, we can finally see this training in action. Now, I love how Pikachu rejoices because Ash won, while Cinderace is disappointed because Goh lost. This is a rare case where the trainers are the ones battling while the Pokemon watch, and the Pokemon react like the trainers would when their respective partner wins or loses. Ash says that he still needs to train more, but Goh wonders if there is any point to training with leeks. Ash's Farfetch then smashes a huge rock, and Ash says that Farfetch is amazing. Ash reveals that Farfetch has been training hard every day, ever since it lost to Rinto and Gallade in episode 51. Ash says that he wants to help Farfetch get as strong as possible, which is why he is training with a leek. Professor Cerise and Ren then appear and they reveal that they found the perfect place for Ash to train Farfetch. Ren shows Ash an ad for the Castle of Chivalry, a place where trainer and Pokemon can train while being coached by Wikstrom of the Kalos Elite 4. Ash is eager to undertake this training and he turns to Farfetch to see if Farfetch also wants to go, and Farfetch is very determined to go as well. Goh's Scyther then rushes towards Goh because it also wants to train. I guess that Scyther has amazing hearing since it heard the conversation from God knows where. Goh admits that he has not used Scyther to battle lately, so he agrees to bring Scyther along. I think that the last time Goh used Scyther to battle was back in episode 7, so lately is a bit of an understatement. So, Ash and Goh head to the Kalos region alongside their Pokemon. They soon arrive at the Castle of Chivalry. The gate to the castle opens on its own and Wickstrom is standing there waiting as if he knew that Ash and Goh would be here. Wickstrom says that he believes that chivalry is the way of the strong and he created the castle so that he could teach this to Pokemon and trainer. He tells Ash and Goh to get ready to train and they both respond with energy. This brings tears to Wickstrom's eyes because he admires and appreciates the determination and spirit that Ash and Goh show. Wickstrom then wants Ash and Goh to introduce themselves, which they do. Wickstrom says that they have wonderful expressions, but he looks at Farfetch specifically and he knows that Farfetch should be a worthy student. I guess that every experienced trainer can tell that Farfetch has immense potential simply by looking at it. So, Ash, Farfetch, Goh, and Scyther each puts on a full suit of armor before beginning the training. Goh wonders why they need to wear armor and Wickstrom says that they will know soon enough. Wickstrom then explains that the Castle of Chivalry has 3 training grounds. Trainer and Pokemon need to overcome 3 tasks together. If they succeed and they get to the roof, then they are awarded a Knight Medal, which honors the title of Knight that trainer and Pokemon receive for completing the training. The training then begins and the first task is to run 10 laps around the castle. So Ash, Farfetch, Goh, and Scyther start running. Ash, Farfetch, and Scyther run without issue, but Goh says that it's hard, especially with the armor. They'll keep running until a Probopass shows up. Probopass uses its magnetic pole to exert extra weight on everyone as they run, making it harder to move forward. Wickstrom reveals that Probopass is his partner for the first trial. He says that withstanding and outrunning its strong magnetic field builds a strong mind and a strong body. Farfetch and Scyther have a hard time pushing forward, but they manage to advance. Ash and Goh also struggle, but they decide to not give up and they manage to proceed as well. Probopass soon stops exerting its magnetic force, so Ash, Farfetch, Goh, and Scyther successfully run their 10 laps around the castle. Now, it's odd that this diagram shows Pikachu as well because Pikachu is not undertaking the trial. Instead, he is watching the trial with Wickstrom. Wickstrom congratulates them for passing the first trial. Ash rejoices because they completed the trial, and Goh says that it was tough for sure, but it was ultimately a good experience. Wickstrom cries yet again after witnessing Ash and Goh's resolve, and I love how Aegislash gives him a tissue so that he can wipe his tears. They all then go inside the castle where the second trial awaits. The second trial is getting through a maze of a dungeon inside the castle. This maze is called the Maze of Doubt. Wickstrom says that knights should always be brave, and he also says that fear and doubt will affect you in battle from time to time. So Pokemon and trainer have to work together to overcome this uncertainty. Getting through a maze full of traps together will help to train all of this. Goh and Scyther are eager to overcome the trial together, while Ash is also eager to get through the maze with his Pokemon, but Farfetch goes forward alone and Ash has to chase after it. Farfetch still refuses to listen to Ash when it's focused on accomplishing something and instead it does whatever it pleases. So Ash, Farfetch, Goh and Scyther begin the second trial. Now I love that Pikachu tries to join the fun as well, but Wickstrom stops it, saying that the trial will test the bond between trainer and Pokemon. Poor Pikachu is depressed because he can't participate as well. Ash, Farfetch, Goh, and Scyther keep going in a straight line until the path splits in two. As they decide which way to go, a cage drops on them which separates both pairs. This forces Ash and Farfetch to go left, and Goh and Scyther have to go right. So they go their separate ways and they decide to meet at the exit. Goh and Scyther proceed with caution until they run into a wall that turns to reveal that an Excavalier was hiding behind it. Excavalier attacks, but Scyther easily fights it off and Excavalier goes back to where it came from. I thought that this would be a bigger and more proper battle going by the preview for this episode, but it wasn't. Though I did also believe that this battle would not feature Wikstrom, and indeed it doesn't. So, Goh and Scyther push forward. Now there are cameras in the dungeon which Wickstrom uses to oversee the trial, and this is used for a nice transition from Goh's perspective to Ash's perspective. Farfetch is still going where it wants while Ash follows it. Ash runs into the same type of trap that Goh ran into, however a Dedenne shows up instead of an Excavalier. Dedenne gets close to Ash and it acts like it's just a friendly little Pokemon and Ash falls for the trick. Dedenne soon uses Nozzle to give Ash a big shock, which is surely extra effective considering that Ash is covered in metal. Farfetch keeps going off alone while Ash follows it. Wickstrom sees this and his expression gets serious. He realizes that there is a problem. Farfetch passes by another trapdoor. This time a Honedge comes out and it tries to attack Farfetch, but Ash stops it. They soon run into a dead end. Ash wants to turn back and look for another way, but Farfetch is like nope, and it starts attacking the wall. Farfetch keeps hitting the wall until it breaks through the wall. This showcases Farfetch's personality perfectly. Whatever obstacle stands in its path, Farfetch will overcome it using brute strength instead of thinking. Farfetch will not bother thinking or finding another way, instead it'll charge straight through. Wickstrom watches on the cameras and he says that Farfetch has a rare gift in fighting spirit and power. It's a lone warrior that follows his own path and never backs down. It's a great talent, but as it is currently, Farfetch can't achieve its true power. Wickstrom sees the same thing that Rinto saw in episode 51. Farfetch is very strong, but it has no regard for strategy or for caution. Farfetch simply pushes forward stubbornly. It also refuses to listen to Ash when it's caught up in doing something. Ash and Farfetch can't improve unless they start working together. So, Farfetch keeps going, but it runs into a trap. The floor opens below it and Farfetch falls into the trap, but it manages to hold on. Ash desperately tries to save Farfetch and Farfetch looks at Ash like it realizes that Ash is trying very hard to help it. Ash grabs Farfetch and he starts pulling Farfetch up, but Farfetch drops its leak. Ash pulls Farfetch all the way up and he gets it to safety. Ash then jumps after the leak. Farfetch, fearing for Ash's safety, jumps after Ash only to find that Ash managed to stop his fall using his arms and legs. But Ash did also manage to save the leak. Now Farfetch is flying here, which is pretty funny and it looks odd. Like I did not think that Farfetch, the species, could fly. It's also weird because if Farfetch could fly, then why did it fall in the first place? I guess that Farfetch could not fly with its leak in one hand and it was not going to drop the leak either. So maybe it couldn't fly because of this, or it was just caught by surprise due to the sudden drop. It's also unusual that Farfetch can fly considering that it's wearing a full armor made of metal. You would think that the weight would prevent it from flying. So, Ash and Farfetch get back to safety, but they don't show us how they did it, so it's unclear if Ash had to crawl up like a spider, or if Farfetch was able to fly back up with Ash in tow. Ash gives the leak to Farfetch, and he says that it is the most important thing to Farfetch, which is why Ash tried so hard to save it. Ash keeps going and Farfetch looks at its leak like this really is precious and I would have lost it if not for Ash. Farfetch then looks at Ash like maybe I should be a little nicer to him or maybe I should be a bit more obedient, I should trust him more. And so, Farfetch follows Ash. At this point, I realized that Farfetch will now be more inclined to cooperate with Ash after Ash proved how much it cares for Farfetch. I also wondered if Farfetch would really evolve in this episode, which is what I was expecting. Since Farfetch still has to properly work with Ash, it would probably evolve after it overcomes this, so it might not evolve in this episode after all, but I was still hopeful at this point. Wickstrom, who is still watching on the camera, says that perhaps Farfetch will change now. So Ash and Goh reach the goal together, meaning that they complete the second trial. Wickstrom congratulates them, Ash and Goh rejoice, and Wickstrom cries yet again. And Aegislash has a tissue ready to go yet again. Wickstrom says that he respects Ash and Goh for making it this far, and he gives each of them a sword. Wickstrom also has a sword with him, which he did not have before, so I knew that there would probably be some sword fighting in the next trial. So they all move to the site of the third and final trial. The final trial is to open a locked door. A clef key appears which has the key to the door. Ash, Farfetch, Goh, and Scyther have to get the key and they have to use it to open the door. However, they have to get through Wickstrom and Aegislash if they want the key. The battle then begins and Ash calls for Night Slash, a great choice against a Ghost-type Pokemon. But Goh calls for Slash, which is a terrible choice against a Ghost-type Pokemon. Wickstrom tells Aegislash to guard and it blocks both attacks. Now Scyther manages to hit Aegislash with Slash, which should not happen as a Ghost-type Pokemon is immune to normal-type moves. Granted, Aegislash blocked the attack so it still did nothing, but it should not have hit at all. Ash calls for Fury Cutter next, and Goh calls for Air Slash, but Aegislash avoids or blocks every single hit. Goh realizes that Wickstrom never said that they could not get the key themselves. So Ash and Goh try to be cunning by choosing to take the key, but Wickstrom stops them by slashing at them with his sword. Wickstrom says that the swords are made of plastic so they should not worry too much. Goh says that they are wearing the armor so that they are protected during the sword fight, but I am sure that the armor is part of the training to do more than just that. Ash and Goh get ready to fight Wickstrom and Ash says that the fencing they did with Leaks earlier did come in handy after all. They both charge Wickstrom together. Meanwhile, Farfetch and Scyther are still attacking Aegislash, who keeps avoiding and blocking every single attack. Likewise, Wickstrom easily parries and dodges Ash and Goh's attacks. Ash says that they are not getting anywhere, so he decides to face Wickstrom solo while Farfetch battles Aegislash by itself. Goh and Scyther will get the key in the meantime. So, Ash and Farfetch face their respective opponent while Goh and Scyther chase after Klefki. Wickstrom easily pushes Ash back, and similarly, Farfetch keeps attacking Aegislash, who easily brushes off every attack. Wickstrom then calls for King's Shield, and Aegislash effortlessly endures Farfetch's onslaught of attacks. And Farfetch is pushed back, but it refuses to give up and it charges towards Aegislash once again. Ash realizes that Farfetch is battling like it battled when it faced Gallade, which means that Farfetch stands no chance. Wickstrom soon attacks the distracted Ash, which alarms Farfetch. It's clear that Farfetch is worried about Ash in the middle of a battle, which is unusual. Meanwhile, Goh and Scyther continue to chase after Klefki. Klefki uses Fairy Wind on Scyther, who takes a direct hit, but Goh defends Scyther. Goh then tells Scyther that they are a team. Wickstrom smiles like that's how it should be, and this serves as a parallel of what Ash and Farfetch are not doing. Ash is cornered and Wickstrom says that this is the end. Farfetch notices that Ash is in danger and it turns to Ash. Farfetch then recalls how Ash helped it before. Aegislash sneaks up behind the distracted Farfetch. Wickstrom calls for Sacred Sword, which Aegislash initiates. This forces Farfetch to turn around and face Aegislash. Wickstrom says that Farfetch cannot defeat Aegislash, but Ash says that he believes in Farfetch. Upon hearing this, Farfetch turns its back on the battle for good, and it takes a hit from Sacred Sword as a result. But it still rushes to Ash's side and it blocks Wickstrom's attack. So, Farfetch, who previously would only focus on battling, and who only cared about winning, willingly ignored the battle so that it could help Ash. Farfetch even took a hit which could be considered losing. Also that it could protect its trainer, which shows that Farfetch now really cares for Ash. It's also worth noting that not turning your back on your opponent is part of the code of chivalry, which is part of a knight's creed. Farfetch, who has the resolve and unyielding spirit of a knight, turned its back to its opponent while dressed as a knight in the Castle of Chivalry. So this is a big deal, and it goes to show just how much Farfetch now cares for Ash. Wickstrom says that Farfetch can't take another attack, and he calls for another sacred sword. Farfetch's eyes then shine blue, and I thought, alright, here we go, it's time to evolve, but Farfetch dashes away from Aegislash, and Ash exclaims that Farfetch used Detect. So Farfetch learned a new move. I realize at this point that Farfetch will not evolve in this episode. Detect is a cool move though, and I wonder what move it replaced, since Farfetch already had 4 moves. I would have said that it probably replaced Night Slash since Farfetch has 2 dark type moves, and Brutal Swing is treated like Farfetch's ultimate move, but Farfetch uses Night Slash right after using Detect, so I guess it replaced Fury Cutter, or maybe Focus Energy since it's another non-damaging move, though Focus Energy could play a role in Farfetch's evolution if they follow the games. So, after avoiding Sacred Sword with Detect, Farfetch uses Night Slash to land a clean hit on Aegislash. Farfetch then tries to attack Aegislash again, but Ash screams stop, and I love how Farfetch stops instantly and it just stands there. It is now listening to Ash and following his instructions to the letter. Ash told Farfetch to stop because Goh has the key, so the trial is over. They all go to the roof where Wickstrom congratulates Ash, Farfetch, Goh, and Scyther for completing all the trials, and Wickstrom gives them all a knight medal, and he also calls all of them Sir as he recognizes them as knights. Wickstrom then wonders if Goh has ever considered evolving his Scyther. Wickstrom gives Scyther a metal coat and he trades with Goh, so Goh's Scyther evolves into Caesar. Now, I said in my discussion on the preview for this episode that I thought that both Farfetch and Scyther could evolve in this episode. In the end, Farfetch does not evolve, but at least Scyther did, though it was not in the way that I expected. I expected it to evolve in battle. I thought that they would ignore the way Scyther evolves in the games like they did with Feebas in episode 31, but instead, Scyther evolves in the same way that it does in the games. Goh is very happy with his new Caesar. Ash thanks Wickstrom and he then turns to Farfetch and he says that they will beat Gallade next time. Ash then fist bumps Farfetch, who uses its leak instead of its fist. So Ash and Farfetch are now a team, and that's the episode. Overall, this was a great episode. I am a bit disappointed that the battle between Ash and Wickstrom was not a standard, all-out one-on-one battle, and it was unfortunately too short, but it was still a cool battle. Farfetch got even more development in this episode, and I think that it is now a more fleshed out character than Dragonite and Gengar. I guess that since Farfetch will be evolving soon and it was neglected prior to episode 51, the writers decided that they really needed to give it some focus and fast, so we got episodes 51 and 56 as a result. Farfetch is now in a good position to evolve since it is now not only stronger, but it also overcame its stubborn, reckless behavior, and it now follows Ash's instructions to the letter. It is a shame that it did not evolve in episode 56 because it really was the perfect episode for it to happen, but I did mention in my preview discussion for episode 56 that it was possible that Farfetch would not evolve in this episode, and if this was the case, then Farfetch would surely evolve when it faces Gallade and Rinto again. Since episode 56 ends with Ash saying that they will beat Gallade next time, I firmly believe that the next time Farfetch receives focus will be when this rematch takes place, and Farfetch will evolve then. But episode 56 was still a great episode. I loved the night motif, Wickstrom is a cool character, Goh's Scyther evolved, Ash's Farfetch learned a new move, and it bonded with Ash. And the trials that Ash and Goh overcame were fun and unique. So this was a very good and entertaining episode, and I can't wait to see Ash's rematch against Rinto, which will be sooner than I expected. But that is a topic for my next video. And that's the video, as always. Leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.